Now broadcasting from the Next Gen Conservative Studio in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report with Sam Whitfield.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's edition of the Whitfield Report. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting here live shows here in sunny South Florida. Although it's not sunny right now, obviously it's it's 10:30 at night around there. So obviously this is Florida after dark, but we're here nonetheless. And you all for joining me wherever you are in the past, present, future hour. If you're here, thank you very much for joining me tonight. And if you're listening to future hour, I appreciate that as well. The podcast. Very special show lined up tonight. I have no idea where Apex Gam is, but we shall start the show up without him. He's probably either getting stoned or, who knows? Maybe he's gathering some sabotage stream. But regardless, contact info as usual. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Whitfield Report. Follow me on Gab, Parler, and Minds at Sam Whitfield. Facebook.com/Whitfield Report. TheSamWhitfield.com is the website. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. And finally, if you'd like to donate to the stream and show some appreciation financially, which is always appreciated, streamlabs.com/Whitfield. All other support links are in the description for the show. And let me adjust my mic. Okay, I think that should be better. The audio was clipping a little bit last night for me, so I think I fixed that, so that should be good. But anyway, folks, so tonight I am celebrating 14 years of podcasting in total. Now, I want to make a little disclosure here that that my actual anniversary was on Thursday. I started podcasting, unofficially on March 25th of 2008. That was when I published my first episode of my very first podcast, the Whitfield Analysis, which I did when I was 14. Or wait, I don't think I was even 14 yet. I think I had either just turned 14 or I was still 13 at that point. But anyway, I actually tried to find the audio of it and I couldn't. But needless to say, I've been doing this for a while, and initially it was me ranting at like some current events thing in like history class or in like, I guess, U.S. government or something. and I did it as like a joke. To be honest, it was just me doing like a one-off impression of Rush Limbaugh, or trying to. Which, by the way, friendly reminder for those who hate Rush Limbaugh.
He did.
This show will be. Shut up. Yeah, we know he's dead.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
May the Maha rest in peace. But this show is inspired by Rush, and will forever be inspired by Rush. And if you didn't know that prior to tuning into the stream, well then you've been warned. But anyway, as I was saying, so I started this show off as a joke, and then like around the time I got into my freshman year of high school, that was someone actually found the show by accident, and they actually liked it and suggested I make it like a regular show. So there used to be this old ass podcast platform called Blog Talk Radio, which I think Blog Talk is still around, but mostly it's just the UFO crowd that goes on there now, and I mean nobody really. I don't think anyone uses Blog Talk, but anyway, that was where I really did like my first radio show, I guess, for like the first 5 years or something of the show. And it was horrible because I would basically have to call in with my cell phone, which at the time was, a lot of people still had flip phones, so the speakers, they were decent, but they sounded like phones, and you would do a broadcast that way. So the podcast would literally sound like a conference call line, if you've ever had to deal with one of those. And yeah, that was fun. Then probably like around 2012 or so, I connected with this gentleman by the name of Jason Veely, who also was a young conservative podcaster at that point. And we kind of started a podcast network together, and ran that for a few years until I moved to Florida, and we kind of went our separate ways. And he actually started his he actually started his podcast back up a few weeks ago, so go check out the Jason Villa program. You're welcome for the plug, Jason. But and then let's see. So I moved here to Florida, kept on doing the podcast. Got fired from a couple of college Republican blogs that I was writing for because I supported Trump, and they went never Trump. And got to have the last laugh on that when Trump won. And then I really kind of started to get into, kind of like, I guess, the alt, kind of like the comedy podcast sphere. And that's when I found Rogan and kind of decided to reformat the Whitfield analysis into the Whitfield Report and make it more of like a long form show. And I did that probably about 5 years ago now. And now probably about 3 years ago was when I bumped into the weirdness that is the internet circle I kind of exist in now. I think I met Gamma 2 years ago, and
congrats on turning 14. In 4 more years, Sonny won't be a pedo anymore.
I don't know who sent that donation, but thank you, Interest of Stuff. Congrats on, well, the show is 14. I'm 26, so the show is my baby, but I appreciate it. Jeremy. But yeah, I've been hanging out with Apex for the last couple of years, and you know, now I'm just here entertaining you guys in the stream and in the live chat. So first off, good evening to you, Apex. I know I was a bit ranty there for a bit. And lo and behold, he probably yeah, he bounced right as I was let's see. Yeah, he bounced right as I was about ready to hand him over the mic to say hello. That's typical. Let me... And of course my camera's not on the on-air stream, so let's fix that real quick. Let's... Okay, I'm back. So, yeah, I was thinking we would do a few things tonight in regards to the show. There might be some people, popping into the stream, but, in the meantime, I thought we might watch, my very first YouTube video on my old ass YouTube, channel, which was originally just my name, Sam Whitfield, up until Gavin McGinnis got me banned from streaming on it for a bit, which was when I started this channel, so it kind of worked out as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen. So, let's see here. Okay, so this was my very first... Like I said, I can't find the first YouTube video that I can't find the first radio show I did, but I did find the first YouTube video I did, which was Thoughts on the Death of Andrew Breitbart. And this was actually on the day that he passed. And I actually got, like I said, this was kind of before YouTube was a thing, so I didn't get any traction on YouTube. I actually, like I said, got invited to a couple of smaller podcast networks as a result on this. And it's kind of cringe just because of how young I am, but you know what? I'm willing to kind of, I'm willing to impale myself for you guys. So, anyway, let's see how bad this is. Cut number 1. Roll the tape.
Glenn, my name is Sam.
Happy Samiversary. The joke I was gonna send did not play well after I read it, lols.
Thank you, Saucin. Well, I'm sure your joke... I mean, your jokes can't be any worse than mine. Let me just say that. But I appreciate it. And believe me, I'm going to pause the donos for a quick sec, real quick. Well, I embarrass myself for your amusement. So this is me. Like I said, I think I was... Yeah, I was 17 at this point, and as Apex Gamma has pointed out, I looked like I was fucking babyface for a long ass time. What do you want from me?
Whitfield. I am a teenage conservative, and I host a talk show on Blog Talk Radio called The Whitfield Analysis. I'm also the founder of Next Generation Conservative. Right now we are small, but we are a conservative organization which seeks to combine conservative and constitutional values with social networking and new media. Some of you will know me from Blog Talk Radio. Anyway, that's not my point. My point is one of my...
Okay, quick note here, folks. The reason why you're hearing a fan is because I was recording this video in 1080p off of a 2007 that's clearly not 1080p, but whatever the highest resolution was for a 2007 MacBook, not a MacBook Pro, just a MacBook. And believe it or not, I did have a microphone. I actually still have my first microphone here with me, which I may show to you. Maybe not though. It's fucking heavy. But this video gets really cringe because you're about ready to hear me talk through basically a computer fan. And I did not know how to edit shit at all back then.
A great conservative leader died today. Mm-hmm. And that man is Andrew Breitbart. Andrew Breitbart exposed many of the liberal schemes and the and he was always hated. He was always criticized by the mainstream media. And I want to comment on the video by the young conservative teenage gal who's about my age. The video she posted that got recognized nationwide on Breitbart.tv. Felicia.
Okay, so interestingly enough, this is the other pretty crucial part for those of you who are kind of unaware of kind of the whole circle I used to run in. So around the time of the Tea Party, when Andrew Breitbart was kind of the de facto face of the new right, there actually were lots of there were actually quite a number of younger conservatives who were either like high school seniors like I was, or very early on in college, who were like a lot of the girls had Tumblr accounts, I remember. But what's interesting is this video doesn't age well, not just by me, but a couple of the people I've mentioned actually have, actually flipped the other way after attending college. And this person I mentioned actually turned out to be a never Trump turned Biden voter, I'm pretty sure.
I completely agree with everything you're saying about Andrew. To be quite honest, I've read the Breitbart news sites. Big Hollywood has been one of the ones I've followed for a couple years. Michael Moriarty, a friend of mine, writes on there. In case you don't know, he's the guy who played the district attorney on Law and Order back when it first started in the early 1990s and late 1980s. Anyway, that's here nor there. My point is, Breitbart was a great conservative leader. And folks, we need to honor his legacy by taking Barack Obama and the liberal establishment and crushing them politically. I'm not saying for anyone to go kill Barack Obama. That's not my gig. But the left has been crushing us financially. They have been taking away our constitutional rights. This new healthcare bill, it just keeps getting worse and worse. The more we find out about what's in it, the more crap we step in. It's going to kill us
before I started
soon,
cursing
America, unless we stop Barack Obama and his regime. So, to my fellow youth,
good boy.
To my fellow members of the conservative youth movement, you know who you are. It's time to take action. The time to be silent is no more. I have been harassed multiple times by young members at my high school who are liberals, who pal around with Occupy Wall Street and the Occupy movement. They've bullied us long enough. It's time to give them a taste of their own medicine. We're not going to become as bad as they are with the filthy language, but we're going to let them know that we're not going to take it anymore. We're going to expose them for what they are. For those of you who don't know me, you can find my show on Blog Talk Radio. Search the Whitfield Analysis. You'll find me. Also, my website is theanalysisnow.wordpress.com. You can find me there. I look forward to hearing from some of the conservative and some of the liberals who will obviously send me hate mail, to which I say I will retweet my hates, just like Breitbart did. I will read my hate mail aloud on my talk show.
Which I still do on occasion, by the way.
We are going to expose you for what you are. Peacefully, non-violently, but we're still going to expose you. You won't be able to get away with murder any longer. So to my fellow patriots, good night, God bless America, stay strong, America. I love this country so much, and I'm not gonna let the leftist, communist, liberal scum like George Soros and Barack Obama ruin it any longer.
I said... So that's obviously another reason why I never went viral.
Okay, now for our final speaker of the day. We were chatting after lunch. We think it was 3 or maybe 4 years ago that she left.
Okay, I did not know that autoplay was on. That's weird, but... So yeah, that was my, that was one of my first videos that I, did on the YouTubes, and so I was based from the get-go, so and I was a neocon in the beginning, Jace, but that changed. That changed after I moved down here, and I'll get to that in a bit. But believe it or not, so looking back, that video was cringe. But at the time, I thought I had developed like a masterpiece, right? This was me at 17. I thought I was hot shit for making that video. I thought I was, the next big thing to happen. And, like I said, I joined a few other, smaller conservative youth podcasting networks. And it worked out well for a bit. And then, after I graduated high school, I came down here. And I got reestablished. So let me, I actually found my first show that I did down here in Florida. And this was around the time that I was on one of the first, YouTube channels. I was part of a network where we were doing, audio and video. So I've been doing kind of, the multi-stream thing for a while. So let me see.
Ladies and gentlemen,
if I can find that. Oh, yeah, see, here's my old, header. I still do use this channel on occasion, but it's mainly to watch non-political stuff now. Actually, it's funny. But anyway, let's see. Did I put my first radio show on here? Did I put my first broadcast from Florida down here? I think I did. Okay, so some of these videos are out of order, I think. That's weird. Yeah. Okay. Oh, here's one of them. So, keep in mind, I'm doing a show via Blog Talk Radio at this point, which sounds like crap, and I'm using, I guess, an early version of OBS, a very early version of OBS, and I'm using a Yeti microphone to broadcast as well. So I don't even know if I had figured out how to share a screen yet. But let me see here. Let me jump in here a few minutes into it, because I know that the first few minutes of it is just me playing music or something and commercial. Article that I have, that he's the president of Russia. Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, recently submitted this was right around the time that Putin was, I think, threatening Obama with war or something, and Obama did his non-existent line in the sand thing, and this is fun. I can't even remember what I thought of this back when, so this is time traveling. So let's see. Bad, an opinion editorial to the New York Times.
to the New York Times. And what's creepy about this, or I wouldn't say what's creepy, but what's interesting is I can't believe I'm ready to say this, but I actually agree somewhat with the New York Times and the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, on this one. Anyway, folks, let me read this editorial to you. By the way, a huge, I just want to give a quick shout out to Tim Arthur, who is a friend of Mike Garkar and Derek Anders. He's a friend of theirs, and I follow him on Facebook, and he had this.
Okay, jumping in
to the United States and to the American people.
So theoretically, what I should have done is what I'm doing now, which is displaying stuff on the, screen with OBS. Like I should have had my, I should have my camera like in a lower third, and I should have had my desktop on screen as well, like I do for articles now. But most people back then were just tuning into the audio of this. And the way Blog Talk Radio would work was you would have like a live chat, much like people do on YouTube, and people would comment that way. So I would post links in the Blog Talk Radio chat, and people would just go read the articles themselves. But yeah, this was kind of the precursor to all that. From Moscow. So anyway, he starts it off this way. And no, I'm not going to read this in a Russian accent. I can't do a Russian accent. Mine sucks. So this is another thing. I used to. It's probably a good thing that these aren't on YouTube, although, now that I mentioned it, people will probably try and find this. But if I was ever dealing with, like, let's say, if I was reading articles from France or Britain or even Mexico, I would try. I still do this with, like, the Guardian, but every once in a while I would try and read, like, with a French accent or with a British accent. I once tried to read with a Spanish accent, and it turned out to be like the worst thing ever. Thank God there was not a video of that. There is audio though, so if people want to hunt that down on the depths of the web, I'm sure you can find that somewhere.
But B, to do it for an entire page and a half, or however this thing plays out to be, would be really hard to do. So anyway, alright, let me read this. Recent events surrounding Syria have prompted me to speak directly to the American people and their political leaders. It is important to do so at a time of insufficient communication between our societies. So, right there, folks, before I continue on, and I promise I won't interrupt this column too much, but right there, folks, he admits that we have insufficient communication, and that is not good if we are going to go into conflict with one of Russia's allies. Just pointing that out. Alright.
And again, this is young neocon me.
Relations between us have passed through different stages. We stood against each other during the Cold War, but we were also allies once, and defeated the Nazis together. The Universal International Organization, also known as the United Nations, was then established to prevent such devastation from happening again. The United Nations.
I'm looking at the chat on. I'm looking at our chat on my phone, by the way. So that's why. That's why I'm my phone.
Consensus, and with America's consent. And with America's consent, the veto by Security Council permanent members was enshrined in the United Nations Charter. The profound wisdom of this has underpinned the stability of international relations for decades. Next paragraph. No one wants the United Nations to suffer the fate of the League of Nations, which collapsed because it lacked real leverage.
I kind of do, still.
This is possible, and again, folks, I really want you to listen to this. In fact, I want you to mentally highlight this as I read it. This is possible if influential countries bypass the United Nations and take military action without Security Council authorization, which the United States has not done yet. They have not even sought UN Security Council resolutions as far as I have a battle for democracy, you say his name. And the Islamic State of Iraq ends us all.
So, you guys get the point. It was me, generally just like, reading articles on stream. And that was what I did a lot of in Denver, too. It was mainly just me breaking down, news articles in a room by myself. I didn't really have like that much of a live chat then, so it was just me in a room, by myself talking to a wall. And let's see, 82 views on that video. Lovely. So yeah, that's another thing. Oh, now here is one interview that I did with a gentleman by the name of Dan Sandini. Dan Sandini has been on the live stream podcast before, but I've had him. He's actually been a recurring guest, and this is the first podcast I did with him. He actually worked with Andrew Breitbart in Portland, Oregon, and he was kind of instrumental in helping build an audience as well. Welcome back to the Whitfield Analysis, folks. Joining me now is Dan Sandini from Daylight Disinfectant. You can follow Dan on Twitter at DaylightDis, and his YouTube channel is Daylight Disinfectant. So Dan, welcome to the Whitfield Analysis. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. How are you, Sam? Thanks for the call.
Good. Thank you for joining me. So first of all, how...
Yes, I just like my own video.
Did you get started in grassroots journalism?
Oh, it was interesting. So shortly after the election of Barack Obama in 2008, it was early 2009, I was very disenchanted. I was not very politically involved before that, but I had listened to enough of what Barack Obama had to say, and I just knew I had to do something. That the country as I knew it was in jeopardy, and that this guy was a trained Marxist, and that I had to do something. And I knew science wasn't my thing, and someone was looking for a videographer for a project here in Portland. And I saw that on Facebook, and I had this old Nikon camera that I still carry, a Coolpix. I think it's like the 8 megapixel one that has a video function on it. And I took that down and made a video, and I was really psyched. So I started doing that, and some folks started putting me in touch with. I got put in touch with James O'Keefe and Andrew Breitbart, and as Occupy fired up, and I was more than we had a huge Tea Party rally, and there were a couple of different videos that got me started that were big. One, I was assaulted at a John Kitzhaber event back in 2010 for refusing to stop videoing. And you can see that. Just Google, it's not on my main channel. It's on a separate channel. You just Google Kitzhaber assault and you'll see that. Bunch of thugs. One came and sat on either side of me in the church, and then one of them finally punched my camera into my face. Well, luckily, there was a friend of mine that was also there with a camera, so he caught it on film. Breitbart liked that video and put it up. And let's see. And so that was a fairly big video for me. And then there's several other ones that are out there on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Daylight Disinfectant. And I invite your readers or your listeners to go out there and take a look at those videos. But that was my first really big one. I caught Michael Moore down here one time. It's another big video on my channel. So yeah, I just started doing it, and it's snowballed ever since. I have a 700 square foot apartment, and it's now half filled with audio video equipment. It's just a hobby of mine. So yeah, so there you go.
So that's great, and I'm glad you're out there. So, going back about a year, actually. So how did the Occupy movement, would you say, get started? Because there's still a lot of myth about them out there. I feel like not a lot of people actually understand what Occupy really is.
Yeah, it was set up. It was a setup. Okay, so and I really invite your listeners to go and watch. It is free on Amazon Prime if they have Amazon Prime, and it's also out on Netflix, I believe, now too. But watch the movie Occupy Unmasked, and you will read and you will hear about the origins of the Occupy movement, which go way back in the history of the United States of America. But really, it was a setup event which catalyzed it. Okay. On Wall Street. And it was a setup event by a New York Times reporter to go and occupy one of the bridges to block. Their objective was to get arrested that day. And they made it look like, and that's been exposed by emails that Breitbart found out about, that it was a whole setup to begin with anyway. The Times reporter went in there knowing she was going to get arrested. I don't recall her name offhand, Sam.
Natasha Leonard.
Maybe, perhaps. And so from that came out, it sounds familiar to him. From that really came out of a lot of the emotion that was there. But I think.
Yeah, I was really big into, investigating Occupy Wall Street back in the day. So yeah, 2014. So yeah, I had just moved down here, and Occupy Wall Street was still a thing. I mean, they still are. They just go under the umbrella of Antifa now. And unlike the Proud Boys, Antifa and Occupy Wall Street are a terrorist group. I'm not saying I'm a fan of the Proud Boys. I think the Proud Boys are cringe. But, I think they're dumb. They're not, terrorists, per se. But, yeah. And, I don't know if I want to play the entirety of this, interview, but, it is a good one, so I will link that in the, show notes of the podcast for you guys, and in the show notes once the stream is over. Also, here's me, still kind of baby-faced a little bit, but, looking good. And, yes, I've also always worn blazers, too, on stream. Although I haven't worn one within the past year on this stream, but, anyway, So, I don't really have any other clips that I want to play in, specific order. One thing I do want to do, though, is I want to, well, let me turn back on the donations, the Streamlabs donations, first of all. And, woo. Okay. Yeah, let me turn back on the Streamlabs donations, and let me also stop streaming my screen. Okay, so donations are unpaused, so if you guys would like to donate again, feel free to. But in the meantime, folks, I do want to take a few moments here just really to express my gratitude to all of you who have joined me as podcast listeners and supporters over the years, whether you've been with me for all 14 years, as I know some of the podcast listeners are, or whether you are just joining me for the first time today. I really appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are the best audience that anyone could ask for, even in some of my cringer moments. I really appreciate you guys sticking by me, whether it be through politics or through the through the whole crazy internet blood sports Owen Benjamin saga that I got sucked into, or whether it be the kind of the Comicsgate / culture war thing as well. I really appreciate each and every one of you, and you guys are awesome. What can I say? So, and also, I wasn't really going to share this, but I've also had a few people email me or DM me, and not one, but I actually had two people, and I couldn't believe this, but one person DM'd me and said that my podcast and my live stream helped them get through quarantine, which, I'm glad I was able to help said person get through quarantine, because it was a bit rough for all of us, and believe me, you guys helped me get through that period of time too last year, so I greatly appreciate that. Another person DM'd me, and I won't go into specifics, but this happened not too long ago. Person messaged me and said that I kept them from killing themselves. That one of my shows, it was specifically one I had done on pushing through hard times and persevering. It was one of the old ones I had done from like 2015. That podcast in particular, like, they stumbled upon it, and that it saved, that it kept them from going down a dark path. And I even now, I don't really know what to say to that other than, wow. I'm just a guy who's here to, comment on issues of the day, do comedy, mock, public figures, mock the internet, mock myself on occasion as I'm doing here tonight. But for, I'm not I'm not a motivational speaker, and I'm certainly not, I'm not Tony Robbins or anyone who, should be, necessarily motivating people. Like, that's not my goal here. But the fact that someone was, inspired to keep going because of my show, and the fact that I've been a comfort to, to not just one person, but to several of you who have written me, and, to hear that this individual decided not to take their life because they heard my show. I mean, that's something that you don't hear every day. And, I don't share that to say, look at me, I'm such a great guy. I say that because I bring it up because that was like one of those wow moments for me. I guess this show is a lot more than I thought it was. And, if said listener is out there, watching this in live stream or on the podcast archive, I appreciate you sticking around, and, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're doing, better, and, thanks for supporting the show, and, I'm sure, I know I'm not the only one who appreciates it, but I'm sure that your friends and your family, also appreciate you sticking around too. And, so it means a lot to me that I was able to help you in whatever small way that I could, even though I didn't really do anything other than just, maybe entertain you. And that's, and that's the other thing is, yeah, this is the internet. Yeah, there are shady, there are shady communities. There is the internet where you don't want to get involved in, obviously, but there are other areas, and I find this to be the case with podcast communities where, especially some of the smaller podcast communities where you start listening or you start watching a person's live stream and it becomes a community. And in some cases, it even starts to become like a family. There have been, sorry, I had to adjust my headband there. There have been, there have been podcast communities that, like, I've been a part of where I've seen people get married, and I've seen people announce, pregnancies and whatnot. That was how the old Gavin McGinnis Discord was before it got, banned. There was a tight number of us that got, in early, and we were kind of the initial 50 users, and we kind of, got to know each other real well, and there were a couple kids that came into the world along the way, and that was 3 years ago now, and it, it dawned on me that this community is similar. So, Anyway, let's see here. Hey, Fat Cake Boy, thanks for the $5 donation. Speaking of this community, like I said, you guys really are the best. So, yeah. I just, I love you guys. I really do. And with that in mind, if any of you guys would like to, call into the stream, now I guess would be the time too. I'm going to drop a link to the Discord server here so that you guys can hop in if you care to and comment on the goings about. So let me get the stream link here for you guys. And yes, I know, dead air. Alright, I generally don't post the Discord link openly, but I figure since I'm here tonight, people can pop in. So, and I don't know where Gamut, where Apex is tonight. He was here earlier, but let me read some of the comments here. So, Sawson says that was not as cringe as possible. You can do cringer, game, set, match. Well, you're on, Sawson. I will try and be cringer if possible. Jay says, been with you since around 2018. That's right. And the funny thing about Jason and I is Jason and I actually we met in a Discord that was completely unrelated to politics or anything, and he and I just kind of started talking, and I told him I did a podcast, and he asked me to explain what it was, so I told him, and that's the other thing is when you meet listeners, and Jason's the only one, but I've met listeners who have who've like been in other Discords that I'm in, that don't know it's me, but they've listened to the show. So that's interesting. But yeah. Yeah, and I don't think there's a possibility of a raid, Jace, because not unless I get 100 like live concurrent viewers all of a sudden and they all start rating me. But usually I turn off the live chat archive after the show, so people can't watch the live chat. Although some people on YouTube have commented that they like when I leave the live chat archive on for whatever reason, and I don't get that. Why? You guys missed the live stream. There's nothing for you guys. But well, we're waiting for some people to call in. I did see someone sent me this video of So, someone sent me this meme video earlier today. Now I'm stealing Jeremy's bit. Jeremy from Interest of Stuff. Since I'm playing TikTok video on here, as it were. So, some of you have seen this, some of you guys haven't, but, evidently, try and focus this more. Okay. So evidently, ladies and gentlemen, someone posted a meme of Trump golfing and hitting Biden in the head, and that's why Biden fell off the stairs. And apparently now, according to the left, this is this is basically the same thing as like a domestic terrorism, call to action or something like that. I don't know anymore. Okay, that's a funny. That is a funny meme, but I don't see how it incites violence. And by the way, how do you fall up the stairs? That's what I want to know. And how do you fall? That is actually impressive for Biden to fall up the stairs. And yeah, he's totally healthy. Totally healthy, folks. Nothing wrong with him at all whatsoever. Okay, there have been a couple memes like that.
정신을 차릴 동지께서는 저 정신을 차릴 비롯한 여러 것을 돌아보셨습니다.
Okay, that's not that's not the best meme, but that's not necessarily again, that's still a meme, folks. Not necessarily the same thing as inciting violence, but hey, we are in the era where memes are the same thing as inciting violence, I guess. So I don't know. Let's see. Sam Streamlabs is not letting me donate, Larry says. I don't know. That's a little weird. That's a little weird there. Yeah. Streamlabs, let me go and check here real quick, Larry. Streamlabs seems to be working for me. Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing it as being fine. Maybe it's PayPal or something, but should be working. So let's see. Speaking of Streamlabs, by the way, thanks for the it says that someone else subscribed to the channel, so thanks for that as well. So let's see. What else do we have here? I wonder where Apex went as well. That's I'm almost surprised that he's not here. Welcome back to the Whitfield analysis. Alrighty, okay. There we are. Okay, so I guess the big question is, folks, where do we go from here on the podcast, and what are the plans for the future? Right? Basically, folks, I am going to try and still do some political commentary. I still do plan on doing that whenever possible, and don't get me wrong, we still have a lot to cover in terms of the Biden administration, so we're not going anywhere in terms of that. But right now, I am working on a few interviews, and getting some people on the show. A couple people I can't name quite yet. But I'm also going to be going on some other podcasts in about another week or so. Jacob Downey, who is, he does, kind of does like a podcast slash, he has a whole thing with jewels and whatnot. He's going to have me on his live stream to kind of shoot the shit about comedy and pop culture, and he wants to interview me about my podcast, so that'll be interesting. And I'm still waiting to hear back from him on that, and then I'm going to be there are still a few things I can't really announce yet, so let me put it that way. But we're going to be doing more stuff on Patreon as well. So patreon.com/Whitfield Report. And by the way, shout out to Sawson and Bruce City for and Fat Kick Boy for being my patrons. We're gonna have some more exclusive content over there as well. And yeah. So that's kind of the plan for right now. And should be pretty good. Alrighty, shall we I know this is my anniversary show, but with all this being said, I suppose that while we are waiting for people to jump in here, there are some news topics of note that are worth covering currently. One of them that I know people have asked me about is this whole actually, as it turns out, we have someone who popped in. So hey Jeremy, how you doing?
Good. Yourself?
I'm doing well, Jeremy. What's shaking?
Oh, living the dream. How about yourself? Congratulations.
Thank you. Living the dream here too, for the most part. It's been a busy week. It's been a busy 2 weeks actually, but spring is finally here, it's looking like. But
busy, good.
Yeah.
About that, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, and I mean I've been trying to tune into interest of stuff, but most of my nights have been busy working on a final project. So yeah, I've been
totally. And our schedule, drywall's got me all fucked up.
Yeah, that's just the way things are going. But
when streaming doesn't pay the bills, you do something else, right?
Yeah. But speaking of stuff that's that could be paying the bills soon, are you doing the Audible thing yet, or did I let the cat out of the bag on?
Oh stuff? No, still doing it. The first book is still going through what is it, the approval process. So we're 2 weeks, 30 days. So 2 more weeks until book is available for purchase, and I'll be giving out coupon codes for a free copy over on stuff or at Twitter. So make sure you follow me there, and I'll give out a coupon code here. And the second book is pretty much done. The author fucked up one line written version, so I'm going to go back and edit that. I'm not lazy. And then I'll get that all submitted, and then another 30 days to submit that. So call that like 40 days, and the second will be available.
Yeah.
And the written copy sold real cheap, $3 copy. So I'm hoping the Audible copy will probably sell for $5. So they'll be cheap, affordable, they're quick, and 30.
Now, for those who aren't familiar with Jeremy and the interest of stuff, I don't know, how would you describe your show? Like the best way I would describe is like Howard Stern meets TikTok or something like that.
I guess the best way I'd still describe it, ever evolving. But I mean, what you just said recently, but it's definitely something that changes week to month to month. I mean, we're still learning. We don't have 14. Not all of us are veterans. Still fucking.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. This is the interesting thing. YouTube is still. I mean, I've been at this for a while, but YouTube is really is something that I'm still learning because, I mean, like I said, when I started this whole thing, and I think you and I have had conversations about this because I know you used to stream on Castbox, and doing a YouTube live stream is different than doing like an audio only stream.
Oh, far different. A lot more parts.
So, yeah, I mean, so I've been doing it for a while, but in reality, I've only been doing the YouTube stuff for maybe at like, 5 years at the most, and really it's only been in like the last 2 that I've actually kind of figured out what I'm doing in terms of OBS and all of that stuff. So.
Yeah, there's definitely a curve. There's a lot of cutting and trying to figure it all out for sure.
Yeah, and you're at least nice about it. JJ Stoner though would be like, you've got to fix this and you've got to fix that. So,
to be honest, he's been a huge help when it video and stuff, trying to figure out, trying to debug all that.
Yeah.
And he knows his way around OBS. I mean, I still use just because I have whatever you call it, the subscription to that. And it's they make it a little bit more. But I plan on doing a lot more written content, I guess you would say. I try to show work and get everything, the videos downloaded, but it doesn't happen at the show. But I think once drywall really becomes, I'll have a little bit more time. I'd like to do, my whole dream for it is kind of like Tosh Ray William Johnson style, where I have the bits pre-watched and jokes pre-written. But that's a crazy work. That'll be a one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm kind of in a similar boat because, I mean, I've been covering politics for a long time. One of my other big passions is movie reviews, and I've wanted to do like live movie critiques, but the biggest problem is with YouTube, if you even like use, any sort of source material, even if it's, even if it's under fair use, they don't give a shit, and they tend to, copyright strike you almost immediately, and you have to deal with.
Wouldn't Twitch be the place for? Because they're owned by Amazon and they do the watch party. So anything that's on the Amazon Prime is fair for. You can stream any Amazon Prime and do a watch party.
I know that that's possible. I just don't know if re-live streaming it to your audience is possible. I've heard mixed things on Twitch, but I mean, I did a Twitch stream once like a year or two ago, and I'm not even really much of a gamer, but it was entertaining. So yeah, your thing with the audio books, you're mostly doing Are you writing books yourselves, or are you mostly narrating other people's books?
Yeah, no, I'm not to write. I'm a terrible writer. So I'm just narrating other people's stuff, and I always go for satirical or parody stuff, and that's what the first two books are. They're a parody on the Trump administration, really focusing on Mike Pence himself.
Well, more specifically, from what I understand, erotic fiction with Mike.
Yeah, I go for erotic out, and that's how I found this. And yeah, it is erotica, but the sex scene always comes in late in the story, so it'll maybe take up the last half of the book. But the comedy is heavy. It's more comedy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've heard a few snippets of some of those, and they definitely are more comedically related. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm partnered up with really. He comes up with some funny shit.
Yeah, well, that's way to do. I actually did write a short story a few years ago, and I published, and I did like a counterterrorism like type like thriller, and a friend of mine wrote like a zombie novel, and basically I mean, admittedly it's terrible, but we both published it so that we could put like author in our Twitter bio, and then we kind of did like a thing of like who would outsell more, and amazingly my little crappy story actually sold more than his whole novel did.
Nice.
But the Audible thing was was interesting as like an author doing the reviews, because I had a couple of different voices in mind, and then some guy from Minnesota actually ended up like offering to do it for for like splitting the royalty, and I was like, okay, and he actually did like a halfway decent job, but then like it was painfully obvious to like everyone that he was from Minnesota too. So
the accent was heavy.
It actually makes this real like this really serious toned book fucking hilarious to listen to on Audible. So
and that was quite some time ago though. You were in
that would
back
have been
in the good old days.
That I think let me let me see here. Let me see. When did I publish that? Also, I recently found out that my podcast is actually on Audible now. That's weird and interesting. I guess Audible's going for the they're getting into the podcast space now too, just like everyone else is.
Yeah, it makes sense. Long enough.
Yeah, I will say this. I actually subscribe to Audible, and it used to be overkill, but now that they've added like titles that you have with your subscription already, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a hefty price tag to throw in too. What is it? A month for Audible?
It's $14 a month. If you're a student, you can get it for $10 a month. But
yeah, that's kind of brutal because think about it. Hulu is like $5. Disney Plus is like $7. Like they're really pricing high.
yeah, I mean I guess the good thing is like once you get like an Audible book, you can keep it. But yeah, it is it's damn steep.
I mean, if you got half a brain, you rip every fucking show that you really care about off of platforms.
Oh yeah. I mean, and people have done that on people do that all the time with Netflix, too.
Oh, I'm gonna start doing Spotify because I just recently got back into Joe Rogan. I mean, I've had Spotify ever at this point. That's my longest subscription. You know what's fucked up too? On Spotify, I just started using it again to listen to Joe Rogan when I ran out of shit, especially on the weekends to listen to, while I'm at work and shit. So I've been listening into Joe Rogan and around people. He's had some good ones on. Fucking terrible. Demi Lovato's fuck that bitch.
Wait,
but,
wait. He had Demi Lovato on his show
today. Yeah, that one today.
Ugh.
After the first 15 minutes, I hated her so much I had to fucking finish. But the most fucked up thing about Spotify is even though you pay for the fucking subscription, they do that Sirius XM thing where you still get fucking commercials. Like you fast forward commercials, still get fucking commercials. I was like, I'm paying you guys fucking $10 a month and fucking commercials? Are you kidding me right now? I was ready to fucking blow up the whole thing and cancel my sub, but
you know what my biggest pet peeve is with Spotify, with Rogan going over to Spotify, is the fact that you cannot get push notifications for Spotify when there are new episodes of the show. You can with every single other podcast app. You can choose whether or not to get notifications for certain shows and whatnot, but Spotify does not allow that option. And for me, like if I see that Joe has someone on specifically and I get a notification, then I'm more likely to tune in. But I don't want to have to check. I don't want to have to check every day. That's kind of become a pain in the ass.
Jim Brewer off the fucking deep end. Jim Brewer had up. He was talking about fucking like mind control shit. How the fucking government mainstream media is just brainwashing everybody by playing news constantly and the shit that they decide to focus on. He wasn't way off base with what he was saying. I I just didn't expect it to come from.
Yeah, it's yeah, I started listening to the Jim Brewer podcast and I liked it. The last the, the last full Rogan episode I tuned into was the Elon appearance that Elon did just about like a month or two ago.
Not the we broke the, but the one in February.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I haven't gotten yet. I'm working my way back right now.
Yeah, I don't know. Joe Rogan is one of those guys where like there are moments where I'll be like a big fan of his, and then like 6 months later I'm like, he's annoying me or something. Or something kind of like how people feel about this show, oddly enough. So
small doses, best.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, he's got the Spotify money.
Yeah, he made his fucking Howard Stern bucks. Good.
Well, and that's the other thing is I know I said that your show was a lot like Howard Stern, but now that I think about it, when I say that, I mean old Howard Stern, because now I actually have SiriusXM on the app, and I've tuned into Howard Stern, and he's gotten really bland from what he used to be. As
he's got to keep that fucking whatever it is, the stars, that called Dancing with the Stars, American whatever stars.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
he's gotta play nice.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's true, but then I mean, he's also Howard Stern, though. I mean, I feel like he's, of course, maybe not now, but I feel like for a while he still could have gotten away with a lot of stuff, and you know, I just feel like maybe he caved a little soon. So,
does he still show any or having somebody else on the show penetrate them with random objects around the show?
No, I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty. You know, he's pretty much kind of settled down on that. Now all he does is rant about how about how Trump became president because he was president, and or no, how he made Trump president by Trump coming on to his show, and I'm like, yeah, those aren't delusions of grandeur at all.
Right.
Hey,
you could say that about a bunch of different radio shows that had Trump on before he was president.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and he also, Stern made a claim that he made Lady Gaga famous, and that was another one where I'm like, I don't remember where I first heard Lady Gaga, but it wasn't from Howard Stern, that's for sure. Right. What? Hey, Fat Kick Boy, what's up?
Lurking.
He's just lurking. Apex was going to come in tonight, and then he just vanished. He was there at the very beginning of the show, and then he just vanished completely.
He got high as fuck or passed out or something.
Yeah, or he you know, or he got into some he got himself wrapped in like a in a Mexican taco or something like that.
Yeah, he's spending a lot of time over in Europe. He's been real wrapped up with those bitches.
Mm-hmm. Or he got so stoned that he forgot to come on the show. So that's happened a few times. So, and shout out to Scorpio and Nacho and Starshine in the chat. Thanks for popping in. So, now the big question, Jeremy, that everyone wants to know is how did you rope Sonny into doing the show? I've actually got questions about that, and I don't know.
It took a solid year, pretty much, to talk her into it. She's actually right next to me. What sold you on doing the fucking full show with me?
Because, like, I still don't love it. Yeah, I really know. I think we were just do a thing together, and I didn't want you to have to do it by yourself, but it's definitely not my arena in general. It's yours. I mean,
So I was pathetic enough by myself that you're like, I must save him.
because you did well on. I know you didn't that, but I think you did. You definitely, had people wanting to back for just from your own, which made me very uncomfortable. I'm not a prank call kind of person. I'm not a watch horrible shit on the internet in general kind of person. Like, I don't even do social media. Like, I don't put shit in my brain. It's not like,
Yeah, you don't consume.
I just like, like meditate on the good things in life and bad. You know what I mean? So it just wasn't my all. What?
I don't know.
Yeah. So I think better of.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got.
Oh yeah, we can hear you now. What's up, Fat Kike Boy?
Evening.
Evening.
So what's going on?
Oh, not much. Just celebrating 14 years of podcasting and just hanging out with you guys. We've got 10
podcasting.
We've got 10 people in the chat and
14 years. Damn.
So yeah, that's the other thing. Someone called.
Yeah, I heard y'all were talking about. I was to say, I heard something about y'all were talking about Howard Stern.
Yeah.
My question. Here's my question: how many of you are surprised that Howard Stern has outlasted Opie and Anthony?
I actually am surprised.
Never should have happened. Way better.
Yeah, it never should have happened, but it did. I mean, to be honest, I think it was Opie and Anthony were bound to split anyway. I mean, the one piece that held them together was Patrice O'Neal, and ever since he died, it kind of slowly deteriorated.
Well, to be honest, I was never really a fan of Opie per se. I was always more of an Anthony fan.
Yeah, Anthony and Jimmy. Now here's the thing with Opie. Opie just got lucky. He got hooked up with the Golden Goose that was Anthony Cumia and Jim Norton.
Oh, so Opie got lucky. It wasn't, the that he did with Brother Weed in Rochester. It wasn't the fucking years that he went to broadcast. He just got lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony was a fucking back fucking tin knocking. He had some talent.
Oh, Anthony was funny. I mean, really, if you really think about it, Opie and Anthony was a four-piece show. It was Opie, Anthony, Jim Norton, and Patrice O'Neill. It was pretty much a four-piece show, really.
Okay, but when Opie was his own for the last year there, he was killing it with Carl Ruiz. If Carl didn't fucking die from a cocaine overdose, it would have been, we would be talking about,
Sad.
I don't know if you followed it all the way to the end, but Carl Ruiz, when he found him, he was fucking killing it, doing a real good show.
Yeah, I don't really remember Carl's era all that much, to be honest. In ONA, I remember, I do remember the incident when Anthony got fired from Sirius for those tweets allegedly.
And then there was a year of Opie and Jimmy, and then after Opie and Jimmy split, then Opie started doing his own for like 3 months. Vic and Sherrod Smallin every day. He found Carl Ruiz, Guy Fieri, and Carl started doing it real good.
Yeah,
He took it to like and all the other platforms. Started doing live stream with Carl.
Now I will say one of the podcasts I miss is Race Wars. That was
Sherrod's Race Wars. That was good too.
Yeah, that was a great podcast.
You know what was the original awful podcast though? Rooster OG awesome.
The Drunk Tank.
Yep.
The Rooster guys. Really good.
Yeah, they were good, and I mean, the one podcast that I still listen to on occasion is Painkiller Already, or PKA, I guess is how they're pronounced, and that's more of like a gamer stream, but they kind of do some of what I do, which is more like long form stuff.
I'm not aware of them. PKA?
Painkiller Already, or PK, or PK, or PKA. Yeah, that's how you.
Yeah, I don't think I've come across them yet.
They
have to look out for them.
They got really famous during the whole Gamergate thing because like two of their hosts were involved in that. So that's kind of around the time I started listening to them because of that whole thing. One of the podcasts that I listened to for a long time was Adam Carolla's podcast, which which I still do on occasion, but he's actually added commercials into his podcast now, so that makes it like really hard to listen to because it's, I find myself pressing the skip 30 seconds button more than I do actually listening to it. So.
I thought I bullied Boy off or something, but I guess his internet. And he dropped.
Yeah, he said that Discord is having issues, which, that's typical. Discord always has audio issues. But you guys, you guys just started a Discord of your own, and it seems to be working out great so far.
Oh, we got lucky. One of our community members, T-Dub, started. So I didn't do anything.
Yeah, I actually might put T-Dubs in charge of this one in charge of mine, because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Oh, so you're gonna come poaching my people? Great.
I mean, I won't steal your audience, not completely, but I won't do to you what I did to Owen Benjamin, which is steal his which is still his best people. But,
Yeah, he did a great job of pushing people away, though.
yeah, I mean, yeah, and I mean that's the other thing is like I've had people accuse me of like stealing their audience members, and it's kind of like, well, you kind of push them away, so they just came to me. So
when it comes to these small communities, we're all kind of away, and if you got people that are willing to suffer through your bullshit, they're willing to suffer through my bullshit. You know what I mean? Like they stick around for the more raw, the polished,
yeah,
nice stuff.
well, and I mean the other thing too is I've noticed that like once, and I mean I'm not saying that making money is bad, but I remember one podcast group that I was going to get involved with, they got an offer from like some from someone that was going to like financially back them, and they started setting like all these like crazy rules, like we had to do like completely FCC, regulatory style, and we could talk about this, but we couldn't talk about that, and all of that sort of stuff. And I was like, well, I'm not sticking on here then, if that's the case. I'm not changing my show format just so that you guys can make money off of my stuff. That happens a lot too with some podcasts, I've noticed.
Yeah, and that's the double-edged sword. It restricts you creatively, but then you also get pushed in front of a different audience. I feel like the play there is to, okay, I'll do your FC show. Okay, sure. You're not going to get this show.
Right,
it's going to be a different completely.
Right,
but
and
you're still going to let me promote my normal. So you do your little spots for your, and if you want to see the uncensored show, you come on over to you. Make sure you follow in stuff on whatever day at whatever time. Come and see the uncensored format.
Which I would have been happy to do, but they were like, "No, we want your thing. Otherwise, walk." So I'm like, "Okay, well then I'll walk, or in my case, I guess roll." So, but yeah, no, and then I actually the funny thing is with Anchor, you actually can get sponsorships through Anchor for your podcast, and that's interesting. So like I've actually had Spotify sponsor my podcast, and that's been interesting. But I've also noticed that if you read ads, you kind of have to. Like I've had to BS my way through so many ad reads. It's not even funny. Like for Android apps, and I don't even like own an Android phone. I own an iPhone, but I'll read them if people want me to.
Yeah, I got no problem with doing a little bit of stuff as well. You got an ad read for me? Sure, no problem. I'll do your fucking live read. It's fine. I'll shill whatever it is. So if you ever hear me shilling a product, I'm just behind the dollars that come in.
Yeah, sometimes there are ones that I actually do. I've actually been lucky where there have been like few app, there have been like few app ad reads for apps that like I actually use. So I've actually been able to like generally, promote them somewhat. So that's been cool. But then like I remember one of the Spotify ad reads I did was one promoting Taylor Swift's new album. So I did something along the lines of it, and it's not in the podcast anymore. But I did something along the lines of, you can listen to Taylor Swift's new album on Spotify, or if you like good music, you can also listen to blah 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 on Spotify as well. All right, I think we lost Jeremy there for a sec, but let's see. Oh, I got another PayPal. I got a donation via PayPal. I got a donation via PayPal. Let's see here. And it's a $10 donation. And the person who sent it wants to remain anonymous, but cool, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for the donation, folks. So, oh my goodness, Jacob Downey in the chat. Hell, Jacob, hope you're doing well, dude. Well, let's see. We'll wrap this up in a bit. How many people are speaking in Biden's earpiece? You gotta figure there's a voice guiding them, and a different voice feeding them quotes after the salute, the Marines incident. Well, that's something I've often wondered myself. Here's the thing with Biden. I'm not even sure Biden knows where he is half the time. Yeah, so I've said this before on stream, but I'll say it again because it's been a while. I'll just be honest with you here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't see Joe Biden lasting more than a year. I don't. I would honestly be surprised if Biden at this point makes it if Biden makes it a whole year. He doesn't know where he is. Half the time he can't speak. Although I did see a hilarious article on Yahoo that apparently he intends to run for another 4. He intends to run again in 2024. But I don't know if that's going to happen. So, let's see. Jacob Downey says, hashtag whiskey it up. Well, Whiskey Runner isn't here tonight, Jacob. Otherwise, we would whiskey it up. And, Jacob, I did promote your channel earlier, and I mentioned this in the last half hour, but I will mention this again. Jacob Downey and I will be doing a stream, later during the week at some point, or probably next week. So, but yeah, no. Will Biden? In fact, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. This will be funny. Okay, so this was actually announced on Friday. Let me get back to the stream here. Oh shoot, you guys have seen this window the entire time, probably. I'm sorry about that. Let's see. Yeah, anyway though, check this out, folks. President Biden says my plan is to run for re-election in 2024. Yeah, that'll happen.
Note, have you decided whether you are going to run for re-election in 2024? You haven't set up a re-election campaign yet, as your predecessor had by this time.
My predecessor needed to. My predecessor. Oh, God, I miss it.
Have you?
No, the answer is yes. My plan is to run for re-election. That's my expectation.
Okay, so yeah, you may be planning on running for president there, Joe, but will you? That's the question. Will you physically be able to? You know, I don't think so. I think it would be amusing, but at this point, considering that you've like fallen up the stairs in the past week, I don't see that happening. I just don't. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. You think Obama ever pops in over the earpiece and gives Joe a pep talk? You're doing great, buddy. I mean, here's the thing. Okay, so I said this during the 2020 election. Back when the election was first starting. I don't necessarily think that Biden and Obama necessarily liked each other. I think that Biden was there because Obama had no political experience, and they needed an experienced Democrat to kind of, motivate the old guard to listen to, Obama. But I don't necessarily know if Obama was necessarily even liked by, Biden, or vice versa. So that's kind of my take. So no, to answer Will's question, I think if anything, Obama's probably laughing at Biden. Probably stumbling. So Jacob's planning on asking me some super deep questions. And no, Jacob, I can't do the stream tomorrow, buddy. But we'll have to do it in 2 weeks or whenever, I guess. So yeah. But anyway, folks, unless there are any other people that want to chime in and, shoot the shit with me on stream, I think I'll call it a night here, probably about 15 minutes early or so. And yeah, just let me make sure that I didn't miss anybody. Let me go through some of the donations here. We have Interest of Stuff. Jeremy donated, and I appreciate that. Sawson donated, much appreciated. As always, Sawson. And then Fat Keck Boy has donated $10 as well. So, yeah, I really appreciate all the donations. I appreciate everyone who, called in. I appreciate Jeremy for calling in. I appreciate, Fat Keck Boy for trying to call in. And, Jace, I even appreciate you for, trying to call in. And, yeah, folks, I'm sorry about the Discord. I don't know why it's not working in terms of audio. It doesn't really work for me that well either. So I don't know what's going on. But anyway, rumor actually has it, folks. Here's some late breaking news. Rumor has it that Microsoft is going to buy Discord, which I don't know if that's good news or bad news. It could be good. It could be bad. I'm just not sure which. Well, yeah, Sam, seriously, congrats on the 14 years of streaming. Well, to be fair, Will, just to clarify, it's more like 3 years of streaming and 12 years of audio podcasting exclusively. So I mean, technically, I've only been doing this for 3 years, but I'm cheating a bit and combining the totality of my career up a bit. Congrats on the annual, Sammy. Likewise, Jacob. Congrats on your first big, celebrity podcast interview, folks. Let me give Jacob Downey a shout out here real quick because he deserves it. Jacob Downey, if you're into rocks and minerals and that type of stuff, which I actually am somewhat, or at least I was more when I was a kid, if you're into that sort of thing, if it piques your interest at all, I think Jacob is a professional gemsmith. I don't know if that's the correct terminology or not, but he does a live stream where he shows different types of gems that he's working on. And then occasionally he'll do live stream interviews. And he recently interviewed Christian Blatt, who has been a guest on this podcast before as well. So, if you enjoyed my interview with Christian, which you should definitely check out, even though it's a year old, you should certainly check out Jacob's interview with Christian, because it's way different from my interview with Christian, which is why I also appreciate it. I focused a lot on Christian's interview with I focused a lot on Christian Blatt's career working with Dennis Miller. Jacob focused more on the area of Christian's life that I didn't focus on, such as when he was a page for Saturday Night Live and stuff like that. And also, Jacob came up with the greatest title for a stand-up comedy special ever, which Dennis Miller is free to use. And then if Dennis Miller doesn't use it, if he's actually decided nah, fuck it, I'm done for real with comedy, then I will use the stand-up special title that Jacob came up with. I don't want to mention it because it will I don't want to give away trade secrets. But anyway, folks, it is almost 1 a.m. here, and I should probably wrap up and try to get some sleep so I can finish this project that I have due technically today at 11:59, and yeah. So anyway, folks, I want to thank you so very much for joining me for the anniversary show. Once again, thanks to Sawson, Interest of Stuff, Fat Kickboy for the donation, as well as Jeremy for joining me on stream and shooting the shit for about 20 minutes. Really appreciate you all. I really appreciate all of you who tune in on the podcast as well. Thank you so very much, wherever you're listening in the past, present, future hour. And as my friend John Neary would say, God bless, God save this great nation, God, freedom, democracy in that order. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Whitfield Report. God bless, folks, and good night.
Thanks for listening to The Whitfield Report on the NGC Network. Please visit Sam's website at www.thesamwhitfield.com and support Sam on Patreon at patreon.com/Whitfield Report. Until next time, God bless, God save this great nation, and God, freedom, legacy, in that order.